Hi, everyone. I hope your day is off to a great start, and thank you for attending today's Sherweb webinar session. I'm Alex Salvati, a product marketer here at Sherweb, and I'm thrilled to introduce our webinar, Getting Started with Azure and AVD. Presenting today's session is Jason Lambert, Sherweb's advocate of Azure Solutions. Jason is a cloud infrastructure veteran with over 10 years of experience assisting MSPs in enhancing their Azure skill sets and building IaaS solutions for their clients. In today's webinar, we will cover Azure Cloud Practice Fundamentals, how to use the Azure portal and calculator, how AVD offers an easy to manage, scalable, and secure desktop as a service solution, and how to use Nerdio for faster and easier deployment of AVD. Please ask to hold any questions that you may have for the Q&A portion of today's session. Now let's dive into today's webinar. Jason, over to you.
Thank you, Alex. I greatly appreciate it. So today we're going to talk about some of the things that you can do with Sherweb around Microsoft Azure. We'd like to be known as your trusted advisor. So here at Sherweb, we have a team of Azure experts, all the way from pre-sales through to deployment, that can help you and your customers through your journey with Microsoft Azure. We can help with partner training. So if you and your team are looking to get educated in and around Microsoft Azure, we can certainly assist you. You're going to see later at the end of this deck, there are a number of presentations around Microsoft Azure that are coming your way. We can also help in solution design. So if you need pre-sales, technical architect to help come alongside you and help create the solution for your customer, we have those resources on staff. And we also have engineering sources on staff too, where if we're looking to actually help you put the deployment out for your customer, Sherweb has the ability to do that through our pre-sales or our solutions team here. So our professional services team can help you on that side. And then finally, we can help you in an optimization perspective. So a lot of customers that may already be running on Azure could be a little bit challenged around some of the spend that they're being billed for. And so if you have a customer that seems a little bit frustrated with Azure, we can certainly help run optimization and or reserved instances. We may talk about that a little bit later in this presentation. If not, we will certainly go over it in future presentations that are coming up later in July and some in August. So the people that you see on the screen right now, we've got Ron Farrar, Alex Fenner, Neil Kosh, and Christian. Ron and Alex are a business development team that are here to help you, and you can reach out to them. Later, you're going to get an opportunity to reach out to our team, and that email will actually go right to Ron Farrar. If you got questions, he's certainly very well educated around Microsoft Azure. He's been doing Azure for a number of years as well, and his the pre-sales solutions. Neil and Christian are there to come alongside, answer questions, and help you with your customer find the opportunity. So one of the things that we know in the Microsoft Cloud space is that on the 365 side of the house, customer has 20, 25, 50 licenses. We can help you navigate those licenses and then get those orders placed with our team, and we can get that, sent out and delivered to you relatively quickly. On the Azure side, sometimes you need to have a better conversation or a different conversation with your customer and start talking about some of the business solutions or challenges that the customer has. And our team is well equipped to come alongside and help you have those conversations. So if you're not feeling that you have those expertise, rest assured and don't worry, we're here to help. So we're going to talk a little bit about cloud fundamentals today. We want you to get a good understanding of what Microsoft Azure is and some of the different platforms that are out there in the industry. So as you see here, some of the service models that you may be familiar with. If you sold Microsoft 365 in the past, or if you're selling hosted application services, maybe QuickBooks, maybe some security services, most of those services are software as a service. What we're talking about with Microsoft Azure is actually what you see in the middle column, which is infrastructure as a service. And so infrastructure as a service has been around for a number of years. And it, in the last roughly 10 years, Microsoft has brought infrastructure as a service, to the market, and over time have been scaling their solution down to make it more cost effective for the small, medium business. And today you can actually go out and find servers that you can deploy for customers that are literally pennies on the dollar, depending on what solution you want to put together for your customer. And then the third column is platform as a service. So if you're into development, database management, business analytics, Azure, if you're looking to do OpenAI or get into artificial intelligence, that's certainly on the Microsoft platform model. And we can talk more and help you through those questions as they come. There's three different types of cloud computing. The first one that you're probably most familiar with is on the right side, which would be private cloud. That's where your customer's infrastructure is actually set up, be it on premises or perhaps in a co-location where you or your customer have actually set up all the server infrastructure that they need, and then they would get a dedicated connection to the internet and be able to manage all those services according to their needs, as well as all the life cycle in and around the servers and the services that are being provided. Public cloud, which is on the far left, is Microsoft Azure or any of the hyperscalers that are out there. So Azure, AWS, Google, primarily being the top three. They're there from a public cloud perspective where it's a shared model. You may share some server resources. You're sharing internet connectivity to some degree. You're sharing storage, networking to some degree, like the hardware side of it. When you set up a tenant and then set up a subscription underneath that tenant is secure and providing services for your customers. So I want to make sure when I'm saying that you're sharing resources, that you recognize that although you may be sharing hardware resources, those services within your tenant are secure for your customer. And then in the middle, we're talking about hybrid cloud. So there's a lot of organizations today that have on-prem infrastructure, and there may be test and dev workloads or Office 365 or other services that the customer is interested putting out in the public cloud. In the public cloud, they have the ability to provide scale, be it vertical or horizontal scale, whether you need a number of servers to support a workload or you need to scale up as far as performance is concerned. That's where we get into hybrid cloud. And there's a lot of organizations today that are in that hybrid cloud space. They're not 100% invested into the public cloud, but yet they realize that their on-premises private cloud may be a little bit expensive. It may be a little bit frustrating with all the refresh cycles that they go through. And these are three opportunities that the customer can take advantage of. So when we talk about, I wanted to bring this slide up, pizza as a service. I'm sure when you see it, you're thinking, what does pizza have to do with cloud computing? In many ways, it doesn't, other than the model that you would follow. So if you look at on the far left side, traditional on-premises, so that would say be in your own house, you're providing all those services there. in order for you to have pizza for dinner with your family. If you do infrastructure as a service, it's a shared model. There's some of it that you bring to the table, and some of it that the vendor, call it, your local pizza company, would provide for you. And as you see, as we continue to go from left to right, if we get the platform as a service, there's a smaller piece that you're responsible for, and the vendor actually becomes responsible for almost all of it. And if you get into software as a service, if you were to say use Office 365, for example, Microsoft does all the updates. Microsoft, does the patching, the management, and basically all you have to do possibly is do a Windows update, or if it tells you you need to upgrade to the latest version of said software, you click a button, or the user clicks a button, and then the software takes care of all that upgrade for you very simply. There's very little technical expertise required on that side of the house. So Azure 101, we're going to talk a little bit about Azure services. Again, Azure is a subscription-based cloud computing platform or infrastructure. Azure has regions, so there's 9+ regions, 60+ global Azure regions around the world, 9 in the United States, 60 around the world, 140 different countries. And so how it works from our perspective is, as long as the customer is billing in the United States, they can technically set up services anywhere throughout the world that they like. One of Microsoft's rules is if they had, say, a facility somewhere else in the world, if that facility is doing the invoicing and it's not happening in the United States, then Microsoft would like the billing to be done in the country where that invoicing is being managed. And just, as a wild card, if you do have customers in Canada, being that they're so close to the United States, and you would like to service those customers, you can, as long as you have a presence in the country that you would like to service the customers in. So cost savings versus pay as you go. In Microsoft, you have the ability, obviously, and we're going to talk about the calculator in a little bit, where you can actually log in and you can get a good idea of what your servers will cost you by using the calculator. One of the main challenges that we see customers have when they go and use the calculator is they think about, or they have a list of all the physical servers that they want to figure out what they will cost when they move into Azure. Looking at it in this model is a little bit challenging, because in reality, you're getting virtual servers. And so to some degree, like VMware, where you can deploy VMware on a physical server and then create virtual servers, you're getting closer to what the application really requires. So, and we can talk about this more in another presentation. We're going to do one later on where you will work through the Azure estimator. But basically, what Microsoft Azure really needs to understand is what the application requires, what workload. So if you're moving QuickBooks from on-prem to cloud, and maybe you have it in a physical server, and that physical server has been virtualized, even in virtualization, you can oversubscribe CPU, RAM, storage. But if you could actually drill down to what that application really requires to run in the cloud, and then take that CPU, RAM, and storage and put it into the estimator, you would have a much better result. And so how you would feel it would be more palatable to your pocketbook, basically, when you understand how to quote Azure correctly and efficiently. So to help you, you can reach out to our team, and we've got many years experience working through optimization exercises with customers on-prem versus when they want to move into the cloud. So customers on-prem wanting to move into the cloud, we can certainly help you optimize those workloads. And then when you actually get to the bottom of the calculator and you're looking at the total, both you and your customer will see that it is more more, at least similar in the cost comparison, or actually better, because you're not paying for the hardware, the real estate, the cooling, like some of the soft dollars around cloud computing isn't acquired in Azure. So for example, all the hardware refreshes in Azure are done by Microsoft, not done by you nor the customer. So those are things we can get into. I don't have a lot of time to go deeper in this on this presentation. If you have questions, as Alex made comment, let's talk about it at the end of the presentation. But we're certainly here to help and get on calls with you and your customers if needed. So Microsoft's Azure infrastructure is secure. Microsoft has physical security. So if you've never been in a data center before, you would be impressed by their physical security. Usually you have to give ID. You could do a retina scan or your thumbprint, physical scan, and they only actually let you into certain parts of the data center, typically where your infrastructure is. So Microsoft is very much set up that way as well. People only go into the certain parts of the data center that they actually have to address. And to some degree, I've understood that they have a time limit too. So if they're only allowed in for 30 minutes, they have to be out in 30 minutes. Secure network traffic. So you can certainly set up, secure gateways within Microsoft Azure, network security gateways. You can secure your hardware and firmware. So Microsoft does take care of making sure the firmware on the hardware is secure and updated. And you can do secure testing and monitoring. We encourage customers to recognize that although their servers are now running in Microsoft Azure, they still need to bring best practices from on-prem into the cloud. So you still need to do patch updates. You still need to do system updates, Windows updates, security. You need to bring security into your subscription just as you would do if that infrastructure was on-prem. Microsoft's responsibility is around the whole Azure infrastructure, right? All the regions, all the data centers that Microsoft has, their responsibility is to bring security. Your responsibility is to bring security to your subscription that you set up. In here, I've also highlighted that MFA enforcement is going to happen in July 2024. So there's a bunch of security issues around not having MFA set up, either for yourselves or for your customer. I strongly encourage you to have that set up. Go ahead and take the steps. We can send you a document. Reach out to Ron if you're not familiar. So later in this presentation, you'll be able to ask us a question via a QR code that will set up an email. You just go ahead and fill in your question and we'll answer it for you. But we do have instructions on how to get MFA set up. Basically, Microsoft is stating that if something happens and you get hacked and maybe you've never done anything in your subscription and it costs, let's say a couple $1,000s, you're going to be on the hook to pay for that. So please, please, please do your best to secure your infrastructure. Use MFA so that no one can get in there and do any damage. So running a practice, an Azure practice within your infrastructure or within your MSP business. So one thing that we would encourage you to do is to have your people, your salespeople, add Azure to their conversations. A lot of MSPs spend a lot of time, working with their customers, and there's a lot of opportunity within your customers to do work. They're looking for 365. They've got concerns and issues that you guys are solving for every day. But if Azure doesn't come up in those conversations, your customer won't know that you can do Microsoft Azure. So I would suggest having your team start talking about Azure. You can do backups in Azure, which are very secure and proven. You can do DR in Azure. These two services, we call them low-hanging fruit. Very simple to get involved in. You can reach out to our team. We can help explain how they work and how to get involved, and start the conversation. again, easy way to get started and continue to, talk about Microsoft Azure. From a support perspective, we here at Sherweb have a great team to help support you in your in your services around Microsoft Azure. When you get signed up with us, instead of having your customer call Microsoft and submit a ticket and wait for that ticket to be responded to, you can certainly reach out to our team. You can put in a ticket with the Sherweb team. And if you have any issues, you've got people here at Sherweb that are concerned about yours and your customer's business. And we can help escalate and get service and get support for you, for your customers as quickly as needed. And value-added services. We have a pro services team here at Sherweb where we can help drive optimization exercises. Our team can help drive reserved instances. So reserved instances, basically a pay-as-you-go model is what Microsoft charges to deliver services. And if you commit on a 1 or a 3-year term, Microsoft will give you up to 60 or 70% discount on the steady state workloads that you may have set up. So great example would be QuickBooks. Let's say your customer wants to put QuickBooks out in the cloud and they have 5 users that are using QuickBooks every day. You could set that up. It's basically a steady state workload. It has to operate in your business for the customer's business to be successful. Well, go ahead and put a reserved instance on that and you can drive your costs down, and we can help you do that over time. So Who Moved My Cheese? This is a great book. If you haven't read it, I would encourage you to read it. It's very short. And the reason why I brought it up in the presentation is because over time, the times that I've talked with partners about moving customers into Azure, there's a bit of concern about some of the dollars that you would make based on your customer being in the physical on-premise realm. So, for example, historically, your customer's always done hardware refreshes. If they move into Azure, let's say 100% into Azure, you won't have those hardware refreshes anymore. You may not have the software updating, the patch management, and all that stuff that you used to do that provides income to your business. I don't want to get into this in too much detail, but basically what I'm suggesting, and if you read the book, it may help with changing your mindset, where there's a lot of work still to be done out in Microsoft Azure. So the initial migration, there's project work to be done. Optimization of the infrastructure, project work needs to be done. You may also see where project work gets done and the cost of Azure goes down. And so when the cost goes down, also the commission in Azure goes down as well, because we only pay a percentage of what the customer pays as commission to our partners. But one of the things that gets built, which is pivotal to how the customer does business, is trust. And so we help the customer build trust in both yourselves and the support system that you guys have, being Sherweb. And then we see that customers start to do more, right? They have another project coming down the road. They need, another system set up. They need test and dev set up. They need different applications set up because they're still growing their business. And all that gets done through you. And that project work turns into better success and more profit. And then as the Azure business continues to increase, then your commission continues to increase also. So it's really the business that keeps on giving, and it's pretty exciting. So what does a good Azure practice look like? Develop your, first off, develop your offerings and internal processes, right? Having your team start to talk with your customers about Microsoft Azure is a great way to get started. Once you get one win under your belt, and if you share that with the rest of the team, suspecting that you have more than 1 or 2 salespeople, it starts to build excitement, right? And building excitement, people like to be part of that process, so they'll start reaching out to their customers and build that excitement. Expertise and certifications are certainly important. Here at Sherweb, if you're a Microsoft partner and you signed up to be a Microsoft partner, you have access to MDF and rebates within Microsoft. And so we have people on staff here at Sherweb. Their full-time job is to help partners capitalize on the rebates and incentives that they get from Microsoft that they may not realize are available to them. So, when you in the front end of your business, you're looking for a discount, and sure, Sherweb will help support. If it's $100, we'll give you whatever that discount is, so you can make some money along the way. But then when you realize that you may have thousands of dollars in back-end rebates that you may not have been taken advantage of because you may have not known that they were there, reach out to our team, and we at Sherweb will help you get those rebates and make sure that you're getting as many dollars out of Microsoft as possible. And getting the expertise and certifications helps you hit different levels of success within the organization. Also, when your employees get, so say the AZ900 or the AZ104, which is an administrator in Azure, those certifications are good for your organization, but they also stay with your employees. And if they decide to leave, they take that certification with them. So you certainly want to make sure you have people that are in the organization that can get those certifications to keep you at, at least the clip levels that you're at, or discount levels with Microsoft, or better, right? Continuous learning and adaptation. Microsoft is always bringing out new product. I'm sure you're familiar if you've been on Microsoft Learn or Microsoft Site. Things are happening all the time, or they're changing, right? We went from Azure AD to Entra ID. And so those changes, although the services didn't really change, the name changed, and that causes confusion. We at Sherweb understand that, and our team is we spend our days serving partners like you in our business and helping you guys navigate the changes within Microsoft, letting you know what's good, what's not good. We like to pride ourselves in the fact that we give really good neutral information so that we can help you be successful as you endeavor through Microsoft Azure. And then partner with the right distributor and third-party solutions. At Sherweb, we believe we are the right distributor for you. We play fair. We help our partners in the back office capitalize on the benefits that they should receive from Microsoft, as well as we have third-party solutions that you can bolt on in your Azure or 365 business. Security, for example, is a great service that we also provide. So certainly let us know, let your sales team know how, what you're looking for, and let us, be that trusted partner with you. And we love to assist you in your journey. So a bad practice, you have no vision or strategy. You may have won an opportunity from a customer, and then you get back to, you get busy in your day to day and you don't go look for another opportunity. It's a competitive market out there. And I just want to share that your customer has multiple, maybe they have an advisor for telecom. You guys are the MSP for their IT business. That advisor makes a decision at some point in time to let the customer know that they do Azure. That could happen, and your customer doesn't know you do Azure. So I'm encouraging you to make sure that your website is updated and you have Azure on your website. Post some Azure articles in LinkedIn so your customer can see it. If you want to follow me in LinkedIn, I certainly at least once or twice a week will put up information that I think is very valuable for you, our partner, and or a customer. If I find customer information, I like to share that too, because I want you guys to find an easy way to be able to say, hey, we support this as well. Not understanding your clients' needs around their infrastructure. So I understand you understand their server, operating system, their network within their business. But I'm not understanding that maybe the customer is looking to get into a cloud infrastructure provider, but they haven't necessarily brought it to you because they're not sure that maybe you are able to support them. Maybe they're still looking out there. So help your team by removing those roadblocks and socializing, that you guys do Microsoft Azure and you have a team of people behind you to support you and help you solve your customer business needs would be, fantastic. We talked on the other side about having certification and expertise in the last slide. Not having the expertise, not taking best practices into Microsoft Azure and deploying those best practices, it just doesn't give anybody a good resolve. And then, being able to continually adjust and evaluate what you're going to do around Microsoft Azure. It's important to know where you're going to go, and we're here to help. So please don't think I'm saying all this with the expectation that you guys know how to figure it all out. A lot of our partners don't, and we have a team of people here that do and have spent a lot of time with your peers or your competitors that do business with us, and we help them. So day by day, I work to help partners be successful in the infrastructure space, and I would love to help you. Our team would love to help you. So please feel free to reach out, and we're here to help. So partners are prioritizing their modern work customers. So when you're talking about Microsoft, there's many different facets. We've already talked about backup and DR. Microsoft Azure Backup, Microsoft Azure Site Recovery. There's also Azure Virtual Desktops. If your customer is working in terminal services or VDI and maybe very legacy, especially if it's on-prem and they got SALs and CALs and all that. I just actually a number of months ago talked with a customer on behalf of a partner with a partner. I mean, I didn't do it, behind their back or anything, and just asked about terminal services and if they were using it, and they were, and asked how their experience, are they getting the productivity out of it that they needed, and they weren't. So I introduced them to Azure Virtual Desktop and offered a proof of concept. So POC, a POC is basically an opportunity for Sherweb and Microsoft to fund an experience for your customer to actually try it in a production subscription. So if they don't have a subscription, we'll set one up. They do have one that they want to us to set it up in there. We'll do that. Not only will we do that, we'll pay for it so the customer doesn't have to invest much money out of pocket. And the goal is 90% of the time when we do a POC and give the customer, let's say, 45 or 60 days to try it, we find out that they like it, and then they continue to move forward with it. Azure Arc, I want to be sensitive to time here because I know I've got a few more slides, and we've got less than half an hour. Azure Arc, Azure Arc is a great way. If you have customers that have legacy operating systems and you're looking for ESUs, so service packs to help for security, we can, through Azure Arc, help you identify what those customer legacy systems are and what they need to be protected. And sure, there is a cost involved in getting service updates for your customer, but those costs are typically better than having your customer in a position where they get hacked or there's some malware or some virus that gets picked up that costs the customer a whole lot more. So those are available through Azure Arc. Designations and specializations, I think I already kind of went over that, but you want to make sure that you're offering a competitive solution to your customer. Anytime you can wrap your own intellectual property or IP into a solution for your customer, then we should talk about Azure Marketplace, because that's a great vehicle for you to be able to broadcast and advertise to customers that you have specialized services that you can deliver to your customers to help them overcome their business needs. And then Nerdio's, and we're going to talk a little bit more about Nerdio in the presentation, but it's a great solution for MSPs in the context that Nerdio has been around for a number of years and has built out a wonderful platform through API to help optimize your time and effort in bringing best practices and services to your customers. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So certifications, this slide really is to give you an idea of what certifications are out there, managing a hybrid cloud infrastructure, data and analytics, best-in-class applications. The one that I talked about initially was the AZ-104, which would be up in the top, the Azure Administrator Associate. If you want to get that, certainly reach out to us. We do have some resources internally that can help you, possibly from a training perspective and or certification. So I think it costs $100 or a couple $100. We can usually get a discount if you have somebody that wants to go and get certified to help you along the way. There's a whole platform, Microsoft Learn, that you can get into around certifications. If you're not familiar and you need help, please reach out. Again, there's going to be a QR code at the end that you can send a quick email, and our team will help direct you to the certification area where you can get set up. If nothing else, if you're interested in getting involved in Azure, and by all means, you're on this webinar, so I would say that's a relatively decent interest. The AZ900 is available for you. There's a site that I could share with you, and you could literally walk through the training, and I think it's about an 8-hour day worth of training. You can do it at your own speed, so you don't have to do it all at once. And I promise you can go get an AZ900 certificate from Microsoft. I have many colleagues in the, out there in the industry that had zero experience around Microsoft Azure. And with a little bit of training around the AZ900, doing a couple practice exams, they were able to get their AZ900. And it's really nice to be able to put that on your LinkedIn or on your resume that you have a certificate that's validated by Microsoft. Yes. Oh, all right. How to save money. So we did talk a little bit about how to save money around Azure. We've talked a little bit about reserved instances. So that's part of it. Optimization, certainly part of it. Onboarding and education, we can help with that. Deal scope and acceleration, I spoke with you earlier. We have our pre-sales team. So we do have Neil Kosh, who's a Azure pre-sales architect. He is fantastic on how he works to help you and your customers solve for the business need that you need, that keeps your customer up at night and is looking for a better way to resolution. So please reach out to us and we can help you. And then value-added services through our our pro services team. We're here to help. I would honestly say, and I said this to many partners over the years, please reach out to us if your customer is going through something or they've got a business challenge and they're looking for a solution, and maybe you're not sure what that solution is. Please reach out to our team at Sherweb, Azure team, if you think it's in the infrastructure realm, your sales team, they can certainly get you connected and give us an opportunity to say no, that we can't help you. Because we've got some really, really, really talented people on staff, and you'd be amazed at some of the solutions that we are able to help your customers with. So I'm going to take you real quickly on a tour of the Azure portal here. I want to get that. Hang on one sec. Get that out of the way. What do you guys see? Oh, you see it. Do you see it? Yes. Okay, so I just blew it up. When you log into Microsoft Azure, on the left side here, you're going to see basically this is your menu. You've got all resources, app services, databases, virtual machines. If you click on virtual machines, this will show you. I personally don't have any virtual machines here, but if you have virtual machines running, you can certainly see them here. I've got my camera in front of me, so I apologize when I'm doing a little, Bob and Deke. If you want to create virtual machines, it's pretty simple. So if you go under resources, you can create any resource you want within Microsoft Azure. Interestingly enough, I believe more than 50%, closer to 60% of all the virtual machines running on Microsoft Azure today are Linux machines. Apologize for flipping that screen over there. So Ubuntu, if you're interested in Ubuntu or Red Hat or any of those MongoDB, it's all available in Microsoft Azure, and we can certainly help you navigate. So real quick, I'm just going to create on a virtual machine. I spent a little bit of time here. It'll actually walk you through, what kind of machine are you looking for? What region would you like to deploy that machine in? Anywhere around the world. If you're in the US, like I can set up in USDs too. I can do US West, South Central US, anywhere it's available. And then I can pick a name for it. I can set it up in an availability zone. We can get into more detail around availability zones and storage and all those other pieces on another presentation. And then decide, what server image you want, whether it's Ubuntu or Windows, and then the size of the machine, right? I need to set up, what size machine. If I hit all sizes, there's just a plethora of different machines that Microsoft has, from burstable machines on the B series through N series machines, which I believe, no, that's not N series. N series are GPU machines. So if you have a customer that's into architectural or drawing or video rendering, anything like that, you could certainly take advantage of those machines. What time are we at? In about 5 minutes. If we pop over to the pricing calculator, on the Microsoft Azure pricing calculator, again, we're going to do a whole video on how to use the pricing calculator, because we do recognize that it's a very daunting tool. It's big, but you'll see here, compute, networking, storage. These are three main components to go ahead and set up. If you need to do backup, all you have to do is actually type backup. Whoops. And then you'll see Azure Backup, and then you could add Azure Backup to the estimate here. And basically, it needs to understand like how many machines, what's the total storage, what's the retention policy to have that set up, and your data churn. And then it'll give you a cost on the other side. And each one of these would set up different sections within your within the calculator. Let me go back here. I know I got a few more. AVD, very important. AVD is a new hot topic here at Azure on Microsoft. So basically, from any device connected to the internet, as long as it has a browser, you can connect to your desktop and have it set up, be it the entire desktop if you want to put that up in the cloud, or if you just want to set up Microsoft or any application. So here in the middle, you're seeing application workload, right? So Excel, Word, Notepad, you can have those set up and just click the application and that'll load for your user. It could be from a desktop, laptop, tablet, mobile device, you name it. If you're in the middle of writing a letter and you had to take off because a customer was having an emergency, and then you wound up at a local coffee shop with your laptop, you could go ahead and log back in and continue writing that letter just wherever you left off. It's really exciting. If you have questions around Azure Virtual Desktop, again, please reach out to our team. Where's AVD useful in security and regulated solutions, elastic workforce? So a lot of people in today's workspace are working in different places or remote or working from home. This is a great opportunity for your customer to secure their corporate data. So between using AVD and managing your corporate data, you're able to secure customer data. Intune's a great solution, and we'll have another presentation around Intune in the future where we can talk about how that happens. Azure desktops are available worldwide. I'm speeding up a little bit because I'm definitely running into Q&A if there's any. Different workloads that you can use up in Microsoft Azure, depending on whether your workload type is light, medium, or heavy. We'll get this presentation to you after this webinar, so you could take a look through it on your own. I know some of the slides I had to quickly go over, but you're really looking at CPU, RAM, and storage. Those are the three main drivers for Microsoft Azure. Video, so video is always a complaint or a challenge within AVD when you got up there, especially through Microsoft Teams. Microsoft has done a really great job of streamlining video. So people, I wouldn't say don't have any issue, but it's very small in comparison to what it used to be. And you can take advantage of it. Choosing the right cloud solution, remote stream, if you need remote app streaming, multi-session, non-persistent desktops. Certainly you could use AVD. If you need GPU, imagine having your architectural firm doing what they need to do as far as GPU, and then being able to transfer files on Azure's backplane at 10 gig network. You'd be able to move files very, very quickly and very securely. You can use shared desktops as well as dedicated desktops. And then I'm really not going to give Nerdio a whole lot of time, but Nerdio's been around for a long time. They're very good at working manager for MSPs. If you're interested in learning more about Nerdio, again, please reach out to our Azure sales team. There's a QR code that you can snap off an email. You can snap a picture of and send an email. But Nerdio has strong ties into the Azure infrastructure, endpoint for Intune, Azure identity, SaaS management, security, setting up schedules. If the customer only actually wanted to use their infrastructure, let's say 8 to 5, Monday to Friday, Nerdio is fantastic at doing that. Again, they've got over 2.5 million users under management. There is a bit of a fee for using their services, but I tell you, for what you pay and what you get back in return, Nerdio is really, really well done. The deployment time, I would say over time, Microsoft has done a good job of bringing these timelines down, like 4 hours and 8 hours. But Nerdio is very, very fast. It's all done through API. And we have huge success when we talk to partners around how their Nerdio practice is going when they're doing not only AVD, which Nerdio has huge skills in, but around Azure in general. Here's another slide to talk to you about compute. There's some numbers down here at the bottom. I don't have time to go through this slide, but if you want to, you look at it, depending on how you manage it, there's different amount of cost savings here based on this, setup here below. So if you're interested in asking the Azure team a question and you're not interested in asking me one, go ahead and snap a picture with your mobile phone. It'll set up an email for you. You can ask your question. It'll go directly to Ron Farrar, who's our business development manager around Azure. He'll certainly reach out to you or set up a call to do that. And so you'll get the slide deck. So if you don't have time to do it right this minute, you'll have the QR code. And then this is what's coming up. So, what is Azure? We'll go into more detail than we did today on what is Microsoft Azure. That's happening on July 3rd. Azure 101 is on July 10th. Getting started with an Azure practice, I believe, is the 16th, and there's the 17th, effortless with AVD and Nerdio. These are all, you can just register for these just by snapping a picture. So Alex, I want to bring you back in. I know I'm right at time. I kind of hustled through the last little bit. I wondered if there were any questions out there.
Yeah. Thanks, Jason. For anyone that has a question in the GoToWebinar control panel, you have an option to raise your hand. For individuals that raise their hand, I will unmute their mic so that you can ask your question. And if anyone can't locate the raise the hand feature, there is also a portion in the control panel where you can type in a question or send a message. And I can also then either have the question asked that way and unmute your microphone as well. All right, we have a question. It is on a longer term commit. What happens if the customer goes out of business or early terminates?
That's a good question. So basically, so initially, if you do pay as you go, obviously, if the customer decides that they go out of business and you need to shut everything down, you can do that right away. If you're on a reserved instance, be it a 1 year or 3 year term, as of today, as far as I know, there is a page that I could send you on Microsoft's website that will let you know that you can cancel a reserved instance, basically anytime you want. Even a 3 year reserved instance, Microsoft is not charging a penalty, but does hold the right to charge up to, well, I think it's 12%, not up to, but it is 12%. I believe that's of the remaining. So if it was up there for 2 years and then the customer went out of business, it would be 12% of what's owing on the remaining year, which really isn't a whole lot. But again, as of today, there's no penalty.
All right. Great question from Eric. Alex Ibarra, I just unmuted your mic. I believe you have a question as well.
I was with you guys in Atlanta. So you had a great everything. I just wanted to say everything was wonderful, and I like the extra slides you added to this. That it really helped kind of break down some of the extra information. So sorry, it's not so much of a question, but I'm sure you remember me. But yeah, I wanted to say you guys, this is great, and I look forward to more of these for sure.
Good. Well, anything we can do to help you, please reach out to the team. If you want to ask me anything, reach out to Ron, and he'll surely connect us together. Not a problem.
Yeah,
thanks for the great feedback.
Yeah, and one of the big things I think was a good takeaway was to make sure you think of 3 clients or something like that you can use this for to start deploying. And that's something, I got a couple of my guys on here on the webinar too watching. So it's, we're going to talk about and work with.
Yeah, it's always good. Like if you go through, and for everybody that's still on the call, like you spent an hour of your time here. Obviously there's interest in Azure. So as Alex brought up, think of 3 customers that could, potentially be interested in an Azure conversation, and then, call them up and make an appointment. And if you need our help, please reach out. I know some of our team would like to just work through you. I'm happy to jump on a call, with you and the customer, and, ask some questions and see if we can help them and find a solution in Microsoft Azure. Great call out. Any other questions?
I'm not seeing any other questions on the dashboard. We'll give it maybe another minute if anyone comes up with anything so that we can get that question answered.
So Alex, we will be sending this out at the end, right?
That is correct. Around either tomorrow or the day after, we're going to be sending out the complete deck with all of everything that was presented today, and so that everyone can have another review and a glance at it. And also, it will provide some webinars that are coming up in July and August. But you'll also be receiving emails as well for these events coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, so I still got the majority of the people here. We've got a really, really great team. We've only shown you a few of us, kind of more the partner-facing people, but we have a great team here at Sherweb that can help you in your Azure business. And there's nothing, I mean, every customer that has Office 365 that you've sold to, I wouldn't, there's a great lead list right there just to go back and ask them, what are they doing around Microsoft Azure? Did they know that they can do Microsoft Azure through you? It's a great way just to get the ball started and then let us know how we can help.
All right, I'm not seeing any additional questions. Alex and Eric, thank you for attending and also asking your questions, and thank you to everyone as well. That concludes today's session. Thank you again for attending. If you do have any questions on how to get started with Azure, you can connect with your account manager or sales representative to get access to our Azure team to support you with any questions that you have. And if for any reason you can't locate those contacts, you can respond in the email invites that were sent out. We'll find a way to get in contact with you. Thank you again. Have an amazing rest of your week and have a good one.
Thank you. Thanks, Alex.